creating a Pear Deck lesson. Alright, in this video I'm going to go over how to create a Pear Deck lesson, and I'm going to show you all the different kinds of prompts that you can select from, and I'm going to show you what those prompts look like from the student's perspective. So before we get going, I quickly want to remind you about the components of the distance learning environment with Pear Deck. So let's go ahead and look at that. So just remember that there are going to be 4 components to your distance learning environment. There's going to be your video conference, which is Zoom or Google Meets. So that's one window. That's going to be on both your screen, on your device, and the students are also going to have Google Meets or Zoom open on their device. So the video conference window is going to be something on both ends. Now, the presentation window or the projector window is what you are going to share with students via Zoom or Google Meets. That's the one that students are going to see. They're not going to have that on their device. They're going to have it inside Zoom or inside Google Meets. And that's basically the same as your projector would be in a classroom. It's whatever the whole class could see on the projector or the classroom TV is going to be your projector or presentation window. The teacher dashboard is going to be open on your device only. It's not going to be visible to students. You're not going to share it, and it is going to be only, it's where you actually control the pacing of the lesson. It's where you decide what slide is visible, and you can also see the students' responses as they're responding. So you're going to spend most of your time looking at the teacher dashboard during a prompt. And finally, the student view is a separate tab on the student's device, not Google Meets or Zoom, where they're going to be logged into Pear Deck, and they're going to see the slideshow, and that is the window where they actually respond to prompts. So the students are going to have the video conference and the student view, and you're going to have 3 windows: the video conference, the presentation window, and the teacher dashboard. Okay, so we're going to first go over installing Pear Deck into Google Slides. Pear Deck lessons are made on Google Slides. You don't have to go to Pear Deck's website to make the lessons. In fact, I don't recommend you do. And if you do actually try, they're still going to open it up in Google Slides. So this is how it's done. You can use any of your existing Google slideshows. It doesn't have to be created as a Pear Deck slideshow. It can be any Google slideshow, any one. So the first thing you need to do is make sure it's installed. So if you don't have this Pear Deck button, in fact, let me zoom in so that it's a little bit more visible. Someone's watching. If you don't have this Pear Deck icon here on your menu bar, that means that the Pear Deck add-on is probably not installed. Now, sometimes if it is installed, it doesn't show up and it only shows up here on the add-ons menu. And if it is, this is how you'll have to open the add-on up, is through the add-on menu. If it's not here, then you need to go to Get Add-ons, and it should be right here on the very first screen, because it's a very popular add-on. And if it's not, for any reason, you can go and search for Pear Deck, and it'll pop right up. So make sure that's installed, and then you're going to refresh Google Slides, and the little Pear Deck button should appear next to between Tools and Add-ons. If it doesn't, it should also be in the Add-ons menu right here. So you can either click Open the Pear Deck add-on over here, or you can click the Pear Deck button on the menu bar. It's the same effect. Clicking on it will open up the Pear Deck sidebar. And the Pear Deck sidebar allows you to start the lesson, which actually begins the session for our class. This is what you're going to do before class begins on a day where you're using Pear Deck, which I recommend every day. And then down here is where you can actually do the magic. Each of these 6 buttons adds the response prompts to the slide you're looking at. Each slide can only have one type of response prompt. If it's already a text slide and you click choice, it's going to change it, not add to it. It can only be one per slide. And it's as simple as clicking. Now this website one I never use. I'm just going to say up front, it's supposed to send them to a website automatically, but it's really weird about security and permissions, and I've never had any luck with it. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'm only going to talk about these 5. So the first one I want to talk about is, I'm actually going to skip and move this one down right there, is the text prompt. The text prompt is the easiest to do because you just click on the text prompt button. It takes about 10 seconds or so to do its work, and bam, this little bar appears at the bottom saying, students, write your response. This bar is what makes this slide a Pear Deck response slide. If you no longer want a slide to be a Pear Deck response slide, you just have to delete this little bar at the bottom. Now, as long as the bar is there, Pear Deck will give the student the prompt box when you're on this slide. The bar doesn't actually have to be visible, so sometimes I found it useful to crop it out of the way because sometimes it's in the way. You can also move it if you want to. It does not have to stay down there in the bottom. It's up to you, as long as it's here and it has this link. If you delete this link, it will stop working as well. So you can resize it, you can move it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can even, I think you can even make it hidden, but it has to exist on the slide with this link, because the link is what actually makes it work. So now this is a Pear Deck prompt slide. So real quick, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the student's end. Alright, so here we are in the text prompt with the teacher dashboard. So you have the ability to control which slide is visible to students from here. And as you can see, it says waiting for responses. None of the students have responded yet. Now there's one student logged in, that's going to be me in my demo account. So we can click on open roster. There I am, musdemothomas@gmail.com. I'm waiting on responses. So if we go over to the presentation window, which is where? Right here. So this is the view that you'll be screen sharing to the class. This is like your projector. This is what all the students see simultaneously inside Zoom or inside of Zoom or Google Meets. You can actually control the slideshow from this window, but your ability to control the slideshow is limited in this window, and that's why I recommend using the teacher dashboard for this purpose. You really won't ever have much need to actually go into this window. It's just going to be in the background, being shared to students out of the way. So this is the student view. So the student is seeing the text prompt slide, and they have a box over here that says answer here. So they can start to type, hello there, my favorite pet type of pet is a big dog. Okay, and that's absolutely true. So if we go to the teacher dashboard, you can already see that the response that they typed has already appeared. They didn't have to hit enter. They didn't have to hit anything. If I go back to it again and I delete this, boom, it's already updated. Like, you will see their responses as they are typing them. So that's a text prompt slide. The student sees the text and the prompt on the slide on the left, and you're going to want your prompt to be on there somewhere, and they're going to see the box on the right. So as you saw, the prompt itself is not in Pear Deck. You don't save the question into Pear Deck itself. The question or the prompt has to be on your Google Slides. So again, you have, please tell us your favorite type of pet. I put it on the slide. So all Pear Deck's going to do is give them that little text box to type. And then you're going to be able to see it. Whatever they type, you're going to be able to see popping up in real time on your end. And then you can display it to students and everything. I'll go over that in the next video. The next type of prompt is a number prompt. This one, so on the text prompt, they can, as I showed you, they can literally type anything they want. But on a number prompt, it will only accept numbers. So they can put numbers and one single decimal point to create a decimal number. It won't accept anything else. So so you click on the number prompt button. It does its magic. Takes a second. Okay, and now it says at the bottom, students enter a number. This is now a number prompt slide. So let's look and see what that looks like. So here on my teacher dashboard, I have selected this number prompt slide, which has advanced the presentation window to the number prompt slide for all the students to see through the video conference screen share. And in the students view, which is right here, they have the slide on the left and a box on the right. Now they cannot enter. I'm typing numbers on my keyboard right now. Ooh, the only thing it will accept is an E for exponents. Okay, so no letter will be accepted except E. I suppose I actually didn't know that until right now. So I suppose that's so that they can enter a a scientific notation answer. So typing numbers or typing letters, nothing happens except for E. But numbers, they can type and they can put in decimals as well. But if they put in, what happens if they put in multiple decimals? I'm actually curious. I'm learning something right now. I guess it just ignores them. So what if I do, I'm learning right along with you. So it looks like it's ignoring the decimals. That's really interesting. But if I do only one, now it's under, so if I put in a second decimal, oh, I see, it gets confused and it stops updating. That's really interesting. Okay. So they can put multiple decimals, but it won't. Once they put that second decimal place, Pear Deck will stop updating on your end because it doesn't understand their response. So we have to make sure there's only one. And I suppose we could do, like, we can try 1.32 E3. And, oh, yep. 1,320. So they can do scientific notation. That is really cool. I'm excited. That is going to be very helpful to me in science, and those of you who teach math, it's probably going to be helpful to you as well. So on the dashboard, you have two options to view their responses. You can view this as, I think it's called a box and whisker plot, that will kind of plot out all the different student responses. And you can do the grid layout where you can see all of their individual responses. And it looks like it's actually translating the scientific notation into a regular number on my end. What if I do something huge like E40? There you go, now it's saying E40. Okay. So this should be plus 40? Interesting. And if I go to overlay, oh, yeah, it's a very large number. Okay. Awesome. So once again, number prompt only allows numbers. If you put in more than one decimal, it gets confused and stops reporting your answer. If you put in more than one E, it will get confused and stop reporting your answer. So the student does have to organize their number correctly. And if it's a small number, like 2.35, they can use the arrow to go up and down by ones. So I don't know if this would be useful in a high school math or science class, but Who knows? So that's a number prompt. Okay, now the choice prompt. Again, the choice prompt, the question has to be on the slide. The question has to be on the slide. But the answers, the answer options, you really have two options. You can put the answer options on the slide itself, or you can put them in into the prompt's code. So the way you do that, so like this is, please select the option that best represents your knowledge of Pear Deck. So I click on choice. Okay, and now we come to the options screen. Okay, so this one requires a little bit of setting up. It's going to default to having an ABC. You want to do D or E or F. You can actually go all the way to Z. You can have up to 26 different responses. I don't know why you would ever need 26 responses on a slide, but students can only select one. This is not a multiple select slide. This is a single selection. They don't have multiple select in Pear Deck. They should, but they don't. So I'm going to remove these. So if you want, you can just say A, B, C, D. You have to put something. And then you can actually put on your slide, A is this, B is this, C is this, D is this. And then on the Pear Deck, they'll see A, B, C, and D as options. However, so I'll show you what that looks like. So we can say A, I am an expert. B, I am proficient. Tab C, I have a basic understanding. Oops. And D, I have no idea what Pear Deck is. Okay, so there we go. We put our options on the slide, and so now let's see what that looks like in Pear Deck. Okay, so I've selected my choice prompt slide on the teacher dashboard, and so the students will see this. They see the slide on the left, and they see the choices, which we set up as A, B, C, and D. Now, remember that we typed A, B, C, and D. Pear Deck does not automatically put the letters on here. All they see over here is whatever you named the option. So I named them A, B, C, and D, so that's what they see on this side. And then I have my options over here on the left. A, I am an expert. C, so they can click their desired option, and then over on the teacher dashboard, you will see a kind of a bar graph showing you which percentage of students have selected each option. And if I go back to the student view and change it to A, you can see that it's automatically and immediately changed to A. So that is what it looks like if you put the options on the slide and just have your Pear Deck be A, B, C, D, or E or F, or however you do it. Okay, so or you can, so I'm going to delete this, oops, delete that, and I'm going to say choice, add another, and I can do the options. I am an expert in Pear Deck, I am proficient in Pear Deck. I have a basic understanding of Pear Deck. And D, I have no idea what Pear Deck is. Okay, update slide. And now let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here on my dashboard, I've selected the choice prompt where the actual options are inside of Pear Deck. And if I go over to the student view, now you see that the actual text of each option, there's no A's, there's no B's, there's no C's, is over here. And it's the same deal. They click, I have a basic understanding of Pear Deck, and on the teacher dashboard, C, I have a basic understanding of Pear Deck, and one person has responded. If I change it to I am an expert, bam, it's automatically changed. So as you saw, now if you put the options in, those options will appear on the student's response prompt. Otherwise, but you have to put something. If you leave them blank, the options won't appear on Pear Deck. The students will just get a blank screen. So make sure if you're gonna do this, make sure you at least put A, B, C, D on the slide. Or you can do both, honestly. You can have it on the slide and in the choice prompts. That might actually be better. All right, next we're going to look at the draggable prompt. Oh, I'm sorry, the drawing prompt. This is the drawing prompt slide. So this allows the students to actually draw onto the slide. So whatever they draw will literally go right over the top of everything on the slide. This is another one that doesn't require any setup. You just click draw. It takes a second. And bam, students draw anywhere on this slide. Okay, so let's have a look and see what that looks like. Okay, I've selected my drawing prompt on the dashboard, and the student sees this. So you can see that they have a number of tools available to them as far as colors, and there's quite a few. There's more than are visible on my screen. You have the pencil. So if I click red and click my pencil, I can scribble. I can click right here. I can make it smaller. Okay. I have my highlighter. So the highlighter is going to be somewhat see-through as they draw. Okay. The straight line tool does straight lines, which can be very useful. The text tool, they click and it creates a text box that they can type in, and they can change the size of the text using the sizer. And then the eraser, which they can also resize, erases what they've already done. The only thing it won't erase is the text boxes. The text box has to be selected and deleted. Also, if a student has really messed up, or they're really unhappy, they can click on the clear, which is the little trash can in the corner, and it will wipe out everything that they've done. So this is as an example of, this is probably more of an elementary school curriculum example, but I just want you guys to see what some of the potential. You could say, students, fill in this circle to show what 2/3 looks like. Okay, so I'm going to make a nice big thingy, and I'm going to go like that and fill it in. It doesn't have to be beautiful. That's 2/3. Express 2/3 as a fraction. Now we've in the science department, we've actually done, in the chemistry department, we've actually done fill in the blank slides with drawables. So they can go and they can say 2, okay, and then 3. And put it, there you go. And that way you can, the student can demonstrate. There's various ways students can demonstrate their understanding to you with the drawing slide. It's very free form, and I imagine that once you get used to Pear Deck, you'll use drawing prompts more and more. Alright, so as you can see, drawing prompts have a lot of potential. There's a lot of different ways that you can use them. There are a lot of different ways you can use them to test students to draw formative assessment information out of a student. So this is probably the most flexible. It just requires you to give a little bit more clear instruction on how you expect students to fill out the drawing. The last type of prompt is the draggable prompt. So this is just like the choice prompt. This one requires some setup. So when you click on draggable, it's going to bring up this window where you need to select the kinds of draggable icons you want the students to use. There are a variety of options. There are these shapes and these shapes. There's math symbols. There are numbers in 2 styles and punctuation. You can also change the color between any of these, how many is this? 8 colors. So I'm going to do numbers for this slide. So I'm going to go 1. 1 in red, 2 in orange, 3 in yellow, 4 in green, and 5 in blue. And I'm going to hit, and over here you can see the size that those icons will be on your slide. This slider here will adjust that up and down. So I'm going to make it that big. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, I've selected the draggable prompt slide in the dashboard. So let's go over and see what that looks like. So the student will see the slide. It's pretty much full screen on their view in this type of prompt. There's no box to the left, or there's no box to the right, no tools or anything. What they can do is they can drag these drawable boxes around and put them wherever they want. And as they drag them on the teacher dashboard, you will literally see them moving. As you can actually see, if I move that 3 and then quickly change, you'll see it update a few seconds later. And then if you click on the buttons down here, you can hide everything but one specific draggable. So if you're doing a labeling activity of some kind where they're supposed to label things, you can kind of clean up the students' responses. Like say, so here's where everybody put the 1, here's where everybody put the 2, and so forth. Now the prompt here does say arrange the icons in numerical order, which is easy peasy. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on our screen we can see, hey, we did it. And now there are, on the dashboard, you can view the students' responses in multiple ways. You can say use a list layout, where you would have each screen for each student is fairly large, and you can scroll down to see them. You can see the grid layout, which is where you'll see many screens at once. And the overlay layout will actually put all of all the students' draggables on the same slide, so you can just kind of see get an overview of where everyone is, which can be useful for different purposes. Okay, so those are the 5 response prompts. And I will be honest with you, as far as this add audio, I've never actually done this. I've never tested it. But theoretically, you could use this to record yourself narrating the slide, and then when you give a student-paced lesson, where the students can go through the slideshow at their own pace and respond to prompts as they go, which I will discuss in the next video, most likely. You can probably record yourself narrating the slides for the students' benefit, and I would probably advise you to do that. But we'll cover that when we get to student-paced, which is either going to be the next video or the video after, I don't know. So that pretty much wraps up how to use each slide. In the next slideshow, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually run a Pear Deck with an emphasis on doing it in distance learning.